let's go to HTML table. I want to open MS Word, and I will use MS Word to explain what a table is. Okay, we do tabulate things. We do tabulate things, and that displays information in table. Something like, let's say we want to do something like this in HTML. Table. I want to do something like this in HTML. Of course, most tables have heading. It's going to have like heading, let's say serial number, name, then department, name, then department, and of course, if this is the heading, you may want it to be bold. Then first person, second person, software, kind hardware. So this is a table. So if someone wants to join the class, let me quickly admit the person. So we have a table. We want to do something like this in HTML. So let's go straight to our code. I will open our HTML tag. Just call it table class. To create a table in HTML, you open a table tag. Table. So this is a table tag. This table, we can divide into this present, the one in Microsoft Word can be divided into two. This is like the heading of the table. This first part, serial number, name, department, is like the heading of the table. This row. While the other part, the remaining two rows, they are like the body of the table. So in the same way, we are going to divide our table into two. T head and T body. So this part, this first row, will be in the head, while these parts will be in the body. So after opening the T head and T body, we want to create the first part, which is the first row, that is this row. So you're going to create something called TR, which stands for table row. Remember, the first row is inside the head, while the remaining two rows will be in the body. So we're going to create the TR, which stands for table row. In that table row, we will now have items there. We have serial number, which is a column. We have name, which is another column, and we have department, which is another column. So inside this now, we can now have TH. This H is something like your H tag. H1, you know, the H1 to H6, they are meant to make to signify heading of something. So you can call this serial number. Don't worry if you are confused, I will quickly summarize again. TH name, TH department. Now, if you are confused about what's going on, let's quickly go over it again. And let's try to use another approach to understand this. We want to create a table. We have a table. Once you open the table tab, it knows that, oh, we're about to create a table. We have, our table has two parts, T head and T body. Now, one thing I want us to note is this. Let's assume we are not interested in this. Let's remove this first one. Just delete. So let's say we only have these two. It means that this table does not have head. This table only has body. So meaning there will not be T head. I'm sorry, there will not be T head. We only have T body. Then in our T body now, we are going to put two rows. This is row 1 and this is row 2. So let's create the two rows. The first TR, which is the first row, and the second TR, which is the second row. So next is this. We've created these two rows. We created the two rows, the first row and the second row. Next is we now want to impute this column, these items in the row. Remember, we have three columns in the first row, then we have another 3 columns in the second row. So what you're going to do is go to the first row now, add 3 columns. For 3 columns, we use TD, which stands for table data. Table data. So we have the 1, another column again. We have the taille, another column. Another column, we have the software. So with that now, we are done with the first row. Let's go to the second row. We have 2, we have Kende, we have Adre. So let's go to the second row. We have 2, we have another column, we have Kende, then we have Adre. So I intentionally ignored table head for now. We are going back to it. It may be confusing at first. So that's why I intentionally ignored it. We're going back to table head later in today's class. But note something. We have the table. Our table only has body because we don't have table head. So we only have table body for now. Then inside that table body we have 2 rows. This is row 1, this is row 2. So in the row 1 now we have 3 columns. We use TD, which stands for table data, to signify each column. So there are 3 columns in the first row. Then this is another row, which is second row. Inside that row also we have 3 columns. So let's save it and run it on the browser. We have these results. Next is we want to have these lines, these bars that like separate us. We want to have these lines. So just go to your table and add a border attribute. So it depends on how thick you want it to be. If it's 1, it's not going to be thick. If it's, let's say 4, you realize that will be thicker. It depends on how thick you want it to be. So we have this result. Let's go again. Let's get another table again. I'll go to my Microsoft Word and I'll create a table here. So let's create a table. Let's say this. Inside this table, I have school and I have location. Okay, for now we are ignoring the heading. We are going back to heading later. So let's say we know we are creating something like school and location. So the first is, I'll say Caltech location. Let's say promotion. Then UI. Then Ibadan.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please, I have a question. Sorry for cutting you short.
Yes, sir.
Can't we create the table without first of all creating it in the Microsoft Word?
No, we can. I just want us to see the picture of where we are going to. Okay, that is the result we want to get. Then we now know how to write it in codes. Okay, since we know the destination, then we now start writing codes to target that destination. But normally, if you are building websites, we won't need this HTML. We won't need this MS Word. You just make it easier to explain.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. So we have Lautech, Ogbomoso, we have UI Ibadan, we have Ilorin, then we have OAU. Then we say Ife. So we have this. This table has 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's do that. So we're going to, I will comment out this part again and create a table. Our table has 4 rows. TR, that's the first row. TR, second row. TR, third row. TR, fourth row. So our table has, we've created the 4 rows. In each row, we have 2 columns. This is so let's add 2 columns to the first row. In the first row, we add 2 columns, which is 2 TD. The first TD, we have Lautech inside it. And the second TD, we have Ogomotion. So we are done with the first row. Let's go to the second row. In the second row, which is the second TR, we have 2 columns also. The first one, we have UI inside the first column. Then we have Ibadan inside the second. Let's go to the third one, Unilorin and Ilorin. So TD, Unilorin, and TD, Ilorin. Then TD, OAU effect. So we have this. So we are done with the table. So let's run it on the browser and see. Next is we want to put the bars. Just go to your table, add an attribute called water, and depending on how thick you want it to be, I think I'm okay with one. So we have this. Any question to this point? If you have any question, please. Can we proceed?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, sir.
Sorry, I have a question.
Alright, sir. You can proceed.
If we are dealing with a table that contains like 500 rows and like 20 columns,
Okay.
are you going to use the same pattern to do it?
Yes, you're going to be using this pattern to do it. But just the reality is this: when we are writing codes, at a lot of times, if your table has a lot of data, most likely you'll be fetching it from a source. When we do in our next stage, we'll be doing something called JavaScript. We'll be using JavaScript to display this table. But if you're going to be doing the same thing with HTML, you have to write it one after the other like this. But we write using JavaScript, which is going to automate it itself, like it's going to populate the table, it's going to handle all of this easily. But if you are using HTML to do it, you'll be doing it one after the other, like even if it has 500 rows. But although if you're also using Visual Studio Code, we have shortcuts for all of this. Let's say if you're using Visual Studio Code and you want to create, this is 4 TR, just say TR times 4 and press enter. It will quickly create the 4 TRs for you. So meaning if I want to create 10 rows, I will just say TR times 10. Immediately you type this, instantly it will create 10 rows for you, 10 TR for you. That's if you're using Visual Studio Code.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
So it's like that Visual Code is better or more advanced than this Sublime Text that we are using, or what do you think?
Yes, sir, but it's heavier than this. This is lighter, but it has a lot of functionality, a lot of things inside. It's much more than Sublime Text, but Sublime Text is light, and that's why I love using it. At least for the first stage and second stage, everything can be handled with Sublime Text, and it's light, it's not heavy, and that's one of the reasons I love it. I love light softwares are cool because of the device also. They won't be burden on my device, so that's the reason I just love using Sublime Text. But Visual Studio Code has a lot of things in it. In fact, it has a lot of shortcuts, opening files and everything. But for now, we can do almost everything. Everything we can do here, we can do in Visual Studio Code, any of them. But it just that Sublime Text Visual Studio Code has a lot of inbuilt commands and shortcuts that makes life so easy for developers. And I think starting from stage 3, we will leave Sublime Text totally and switch to Visual Studio Code in stage 3. But stage 1 and 2, we can use any of them. Do you have any question? Can we proceed?
Yes.
Alright, sir. Thank you. Next, we are done with. Oh, everything here should be inside my table body. So we just say table body, T body. So just cut all of this out and paste it in the T body. Then indent it appropriately. The purpose of indentation is to make your code neat, easy to read. If you notice something, there seems like a paragraph between this table and this T body. This is to show that this T body is inside this table. Just for anybody that sees it to know that, oh, this T body is within this table. Again, there seems to be another paragraph between this T body and TR. This is to show that this TR is within this T body. And again, there seems to be another paragraph between this TR and this TD. This is to show that this TD is within this TR. It makes our code neat and easy to read. It's a good programming practice. So, I think that's all. Next, when I want to talk about the T-head, table head, let's add a head to this. So, we say we can just insert. So, we can say school. Then we say location. And we can make it both. So let's go straight to back. Not saving it. Let's go straight to this place and do the same thing. So we want to add edge to this, so you come here and say T head. So that means our table now has two items, the T head and the T body. We already have the body sets. Now I want to go straight to the head. Inside the head, we have one row, just one row. So let's go straight to this place and open a TR. This stands for the row. That is, I have a row. Now, instead of TD now, you use TH. Sorry, TH. This TH will make it bold automatically. You remember your H1 to H6 to make text like to signify heading, and at the same time it's bold. So this TH is doing that also to show that this is an heading of a table, and it will also make it bold automatically, not just for boldness alone, but to show that this is the heading of a particular table. So we have a TH, and I will say scroll. Then I will open another TH. I will say TH. I will say location. So let's understand the problem. Any question?
Understood, sir.
Thank you, sir. Let's proceed. I will comment out all of this. And I'll open another table again. Then let's say in our table we want to have students and class of that student. So you say we have a T head and a T body. So inside the T head we have a row. For say students, inside the row we have TH. Say student and class of the student. So we are done with the T head. Let's go straight to the T body and create the name of the student and the class of each of the student. So we can open a TR and we open a TD. So the first students, let's say Taiwan, and let's say class TD SS1. Then we open another TR, which stands for another row again. Then TD Kenny. Then TD class SS2. Let's open another one again. TR TD Below 2D plus SS3. So refresh. We have this there. Next we want to put our border. Go straight to your table and say border depending on the thickness. I think 1 is fine. We have this. So we're able to create a table. Let's now go to advanced things in table. I'll comment out all of this again and do something. Let's get it, open a table tag, and inside my table we only have, let's say, T body. This is what we want to do. Let's say I want to collapse these parts. I want to collapse, merge them together, so that we have something like this. You know, sometimes you may have to match columns together. So we want to do something like this in our HTML. So let's get a CL and create TD. Then let's say 1 TD 0. Then open another TL. Then TD 2 TD further 1. So we have a table that looks like this at the initial part. So what we want to do is we want this Kenny to take up these two cells, meaning we want to match these two together as a single cell. 2 and Kenny, we remove these two, but we use Kenny to okay, for now let's first start with this. We want to match the two cells together so that 2 will occupy everything. We will remove this Kenny. These 2 will now be the one to occupy these 2 columns. So what we are now going to do is this. We want this to spread. That is, okay. We want to match the 2 of them together so that these 2 will now be the one to occupy everything. We just come straight and say whole span 2. What this means is we are telling this TD to span to 2 columns. Co-span stands for column span. Span to 2 columns. So itself, this present column is 1. Then the next one is another column. So it's going to span to 2 columns. Do you get it now? So technically, this TR now has 3 columns because this is taking up 2 positions and this is another one again, making 3. Do you get the explanation? Are we together?
Yes.
Please come again.
Yes. Yeah, let's see the
Come
outcome in
again,
the browser.
sir.
Okay, let's come again. Now we are saying this TD, we are giving it co-span 2. What that means is span to 2 columns. Normally, it was like this initially, meaning this is taking up just 1 column and this is taking up another column. Meaning we only have 2 columns inside this TR, and the same thing also. This is 1 column, this is another column. There are 2 columns within this TR. But now we decide to come here and say co-span 2. We are instructing this TD to span to 2 columns. So this TD will take up the position of 2 columns. And this is another TD also inside this TR. That means we now have 3 columns inside this TR because this is taking up position of 2 columns and this is still another column. Do you understand it? Let's run it on the browser and see how it's going to look like. So that's why we have this distorted shape. This 2 is taking up position of 2 columns and this Kenny also is another column. Why the first TR has just 2 columns, 1, 2, the second one has 3 columns. For the table to occupy it, that's why you just have this extension in the first one. But the first TR only has 2 columns, while the second TR has 3 columns. This 2 is taking up, if you notice something, this 2 is covering both this one and Taiwo together. Like the position of this 2 alone is taking up the position of both 1 and Taiwo. Meaning that is the one taking up the position of 2 columns. Then Kenny is taking up another column, making 3 columns in total. So there are 3 columns in the third part. Do we understand this explanation?
Yeah, yes, sir. But I have a question. And my question is this, sir.
Yes, sir.
Our intention when we wanted to match the columns together
Yes, sir.
was not to create another column.
Yes, sir.
So
So,
why then are we having three columns when we have already merged the two columns together? We are now having three columns instead of just one
okay.
being merged together. I mean, the two was supposed to be made one, but
Okay.
now we are having three.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. So what we are now going to do to answer that is we now remove this. So that now solves the answer. Do you understand now?
Yes, fine, sir. Yeah, I understand now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't understand.
Okay, let's come again.
Okay.
Let's say I have a table. Inside my table, we have, let's say, three columns. Today, we have one, we have another TD, two, we have another TD, three. So I'll just copy this TL and paste it again. Oh. Okay, we have 4, 5, 6, paste, 7, 8, 9, border 1. So at the onset, we have a table that looks like this. We now want this one to span through these three columns. That is, we want to remove 2 and 3, so that we have a result that looks like this. Let me create a 3 by 3 table here. Delete all of this. Delete. Okay. So we want to create a 3 by 3 table. 3 by 3, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, oops, 8, and 9. We have a 3 by 3 table like this initially, just like we have on the page here like this. But we want to produce a result that looks like this. We want to match these 3 cells together. Then we want to have a result. So that means the first cell is able to extend to the remaining 2 cells. We now, do you understand? We have the first cell extending to the remaining 2 cells. So to achieve the same result, we go to this TD. Remember, this TD represents it represents this first space. The next TD represents this second space, these 2. The next TD represents the third space, and all of them are inside this TR, which represents 1 row. That's why we have this. Oh, I want to highlight the first one alone. It represents this first row. Then the second TR represents the second row. The third TR represents the third row. So we want this one to span through the remaining 2 rows. So we come here and say cospan 3. What we are saying is, we are saying that the first TD should span through 3 columns. So it's going to take up the position of 3 columns. That means inside this first row now, we now have 5 columns. Because this TD, we are asking it to span through 3 columns. It's taking up the position of 3 columns. This is still another column making 4. Why this is another column making 5? So inside the first TR, in the first row, we have 5 columns. Meanwhile, in the remaining 2 rows, we have 3 columns, each one, in each of them. In the first row, we have 5 columns. In each of the remaining 2 TRs, we have 3 columns. Do you understand it to that point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's save it and see how it's going to look like on the page. We have this. So this one has spanned to this, it has taken up the position of 3 columns. Then this is the 4th column and this is the 5th column. Meanwhile, others only have 3 columns each. So we now remove these 2 and 3 since they are like excesses. Now this one has taken up their position. So that the TL here we only have 3 columns instead of 5 and be like others. Remember, this is like a distortion. It has distorted this table. So we can now remove this since this has taken up their position. So it means the first row has 3 columns, the second row has 3 columns, the third row also has 3 columns. Then we have this. Any questions on that part?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's proceed. Let's say we want these 5 and 6 to be matched together. That is, we want to have a result that looks like this. We are only merging 5 and 6 as we want to convert them to just one cell. Just go straight to this and say cospan what? What do you think I will write? Cospan what? Are we together?
Cospan 5.
Oh no, it's cospan 2.
2. Okay, yeah.
So we want this to match, to span two columns itself and in one beside it, making 2. So we have cospan 2. So inside this TL now we have one row, then another 2 making 3 and another one making 4. So we can now remove this. Since this one has spanned to 2 columns, it has taken the position of 2 columns itself and in one beside it. So we can now remove it and we have the result we want. Let's go to the browser and refresh. We have this. Any question? Is it simple? Do we find it interesting?
I think with a constant practice, we get used to it.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, we've looked at cospan. Let's look at another one called row span. Row span. Let's see how that works. From the name, cospan spans 2 columns. Row span now we span 2 rows, not just a single, not just one row. It's going to span to multiple rows. So let's create TLs again. 3 by 3 table. Let's create a 3 by 3 table. I think I copied. Yeah. We have this. So So we have this. Let's run it on the browser. Okay, let's give it a border. So here is our 3 by 3 table. And I'll go to this place and just press Ctrl Z and so that we can have, now we have this. What we want to do now is we want to match this 1 and 4 together. So we are merging 2 rows together now. The other time we merged columns together. Now we are merging rows. Remember, this is one TR, this is another TR, and this is another TR. So we are merging them together across the rows, not across the columns now. So go straight to your code and say, instead of code span, it will now be row span. How many rows do we want this TD to occupy? Just 2. 2 rows. So when we get to the browser, we have this. It seems distorted. We can now, since this has taken up its own TD and out of 4, then we can now remove 4 and everything will be fine now. Good. So this one has taken up its own TD and the row beneath it. If you want it to take up 7 also, we come here, instead of cospan 2, this will be cospan 3. And we have to delete this one. Let's come over. Let's go again. Okay. Let's say we want these two. We want to have a Z that looks like this. We want these 2 and 5. We want them to be matched together. So we're going to say here this will now be row span 2. That is your row and the row beneath you. So it's going to, we are merging 2 rows together. Then we have to now remove this 5. So let's do that together. We come here and say row span 2. Then we can now remove this 5. So run it and we have our results. Like this. Any question? Again, let's match 6 and 9 together. It goes to 6, where you have the 6, and say row span 2, then remove 9. Then have this. Let's now combine both row span and cospan together. We're going to say Ctrl Z, and have our 3 by 3 table again. Okay. We want to combine both cospan and row span together. Let's say we want to have a result that looks like this. We want to match all of this together, meaning that we are not just matching them together across the column or just across the rows. Instead, we are matching them together both across the rows and both across the columns and the rows. Do you understand? We want to match all of this together into one TD. So match cells. Do you get what you are doing now? We are merging all of that together into one TD. We are merging them both across the columns and across the rows. Look at it. If all we want to do is to merge them together across this, we are going to use cospan. If all we want to do is to merge them together like this, we are going to use row span. But now we are merging them like this and like this too, both across the row and the column. Merge all of them together. So we're going to use both row span and cospan. This case, this will be cospan 3, that is take up 3 columns. This one now will take up 3 columns, and at the same time we now say row span 2, take up 2 rows. You know, this is row 1 and this is row 2. So we're going to say cospan 3, take up this one will take up 3 columns and it also take up 2 rows. So that it can take up this first row and the second row. Then we can now remove all of the items in all the other row, all the removed rows. Let's do that together in code. We're going to say cospan 3 because we want it to span 3 columns, and we now say, let's take it one step by step so that we see the result. Cospan 3. Oh, sorry. Move this until R. Sorry, let's run it on browser. So this is cospan 3. Of course, we need to remove these 2 and 3. Remove the 2 and 3. So we've achieved half of our results. Again, we want to remove these 4, 5, and 6 also, so that this one will be there. We occupy all of this. Okay, the simpler way will also be to come here again and say cospan 3 also. That would be a simpler way. So this we can now merge these two together. We can now say row span 2, that is occupy your own row and the row beneath you. So we can now come here and say row span 2. So since it's taking up this, we don't need this again. We now have this. Any question? Do we understand this? Please, it's important that we understand it because our assignments will be on this. Our assignments require you to use both co-span and row span together. So please, it's very important that you understand this. Let's look at some other examples also. I think we can also...
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm with you, sir.
Sir, I discovered that when we open the table on browser,
Yes, sir.
they look small. Is there no way we can make it big or bigger than what we are seeing now?
Okay. We are going to be using CSS to style it, to make them
Okay,
bigger.
okay.
You can, in fact,
Okay.
maybe you may not even like this kind of border. You may want another border. All of that will be done in CSS. CSS is more about look, how it looks. Maybe it's not fine enough. You want with CSS you'll be doing all of that. So thank you, sir. Now let's check another one again. Maybe we want to match this 5. Let's go to our what again? We want to match these 4 together. 5, we want 5 to occupy all of this, so let's match them together. So we want to have a result that looks like this. In that case, we're going to have co-span 2 and row span 2. That is, we want this 5. We want this 5 to occupy 2 columns and 2 rows. So let's take it step by step. First, go to this 5, the cell that contains this 5, and say co-span 2 so that we can match 5 and 6 together. So let's go to the cell that contains 5 and say co-span 2. So with that now, on the browser, we've matched 5 and 6 together. Of course, we need to remove this 6 since 5 has already taken its place. I'm sorry. Save, go to the browser, refresh now. So we have this. Go to the next one also, 8 and 9, match them together. 8 and 9, match them together. 8 and 9, we come here again and say co-span 2. Of course, since we are matching them together, we need to remove this 9 so that it's not going to be distorted, since 8 has already taken its place. We have these results. Now we can now match 5 and 8 together using row span so that 5 will take the position of 8. We can now say row span 2. So match 2 rows together. In that case, we need to remove this. Any question? Now to our assignments for today. Number 1, I need to first congratulate us. We are done with HTML. We have an overview with us. Yes, we are done with HTML.
Great.
Thank you very much. Now, with the same passion or with the same energy at which we've been submitting our assignments, this HTML assignment, please let us go to the next one with the same energy. CSS, we're going to do CSS, we're going to do Git, we're going to do Bootstrap. I will give an overview of this theory now after giving us our assignment, and I will introduce CSS to us. I won't be the one to take our CSS. I will introduce CSS to us and tell us about the next thing we're going to do and other things. So our assignment is this. Do we all know the Ludo game? Do we know the Ludo board game?
Yes.
Okay. That's what we want to build. So let's do part one. Hopefully when we get to JavaScript, we'll be able to play it, to make it play, not just picture. But for HTML, at least, let's just do this together. Okay, let's look at this. Now, this is a Ludo game. Here, put pictures, a picture of player, just like our traditional Ludo game. Instead of this thing, just put the image of a player here, image of another player here, image of another player here, image of another player here. Okay, I think this is better. This explains what I want. So, it's loading. Let me close it. Can we see this? Let me download the image. Save images. Okay. Okay, we have this. So put an image here, an image here, an image here, an image here. Ignore these lines, these black lines, just ignore them. You don't need to add them. But do every other thing here. I will show us how to add color now. I'll introduce us a bit into CSS. So again, put an image here, maybe the player, you can put the images of 4 players of your football club here. Just put 4 images. You know how to add an image to a file now, so you can put an image here. Then do every other thing here. Here, put another image at the center. Put another image here. But everything here is done with table. Everything here is done, and we'll do the collection together in our next class too. So I want to build a Ludo game. Again, everything here is built with table. Any question about the assignment?
So I have a question about the assignment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, how will I put it now? The ladders, is it ladder now? Where, how do I put this? As in the lines in between the pictures, are they also going to reflect in the assignment?
These black lines.
Yes, where your arrows are, these lines, white and red. The other side, green and white,
Okay, these
yellow and
ones.
white, blue and, are we going to reflect? Are they going to reflect in the assignment,
Yes, sir. We discuss how
or
to add.
just the pictures?
No, everything except these black lines. Please ignore the black lines.
Hello,
Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
hello,
Sir, can you hear me, sir?
hello.
Hello, sir. I can hear you, sir. Everyone, can you hear me?
Everything.
Okay, can you hear me, sir?
Huh?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I said, we are to ignore these black
It's
lines.
breaking. But I can hear you now.
Okay. We are to ignore these black lines. These black
The
lines.
network is.
These black lines. But aside the black lines, we have to do every other thing. Aside these black
Okay,
lines.
we should ignore the black point, right?
Yes, these black lines. But
Okay.
aside the black lines, we have to do every other thing. So, but before we go today,
Okay.
we are going to discuss how to add these colors. How to add colors.
Okay.
And how to widen the spaces. So you asked the other time about the tiny spaces. We are going to talk about it, meaning that we are going to do a bit of CSS today before we go. Just a bit of CSS. Now let's go to CSS. With CSS, you can style your page, make things more beautiful. Like I said, I won't be the one to take out CSS, but I'll just tell us a bit about it, introduce it to us. With CSS, you can make your page look beautiful, style it, wholesome, lovely, appealing to your users, and all of that. So let's style it. Let's talk a bit about CSS. How we comment everything. We are coming back to this before we go to this table. So let's say I have a container. Let's say I have a div. I am a body. Yeah, this is a div or a paragraph. I think we are more used to paragraph. So let's say inside this paragraph I have I am a body as the content of this paragraph. Next, I want to style it. I want to make the background color. I want to change it to, let's say, yellow. We can't use HTML for that. We are going to be using CSS. And to use CSS, just come and say style. This style shows that you want to write CSS. You add it as though you're adding an attribute. Your CSS instructor, when he comes around, he will tell you about other ways to write it. But for now, this is enough to do what you want. Just come here and say style. Then you can now style it. What do you want to do? I want to add a background color to this paragraph. So I'll just say background color. What is the background color I want? Maybe yellow. Do you understand? Let's come again. You add style equals to this. Whatever style you want to give to this p tag will be inside these quotes. Let's delete everything again. Style equals to quotes. Whatever style you want to give to this paragraph, this p tag, will be within this quote. In this case, we only want to add, at least for now, just one. So we can say background color and set it to a color of your choice. Here, we are setting it as yellow. When we get to the browser, you will see that the background color will be yellow. Where's my browser? I think where's the browser? Refresh. Now, do you notice that this background color moves? It started here and it ends. It starts here and it ends here. Remember, a p tag is a block element. This is the reason. sorry. This is the reason it's unable to share its line. It actually spans to the whole page, like from this page, from the beginning here to the end here. Do you understand? Although our text is only occupying a portion of the p tag, but really our p tag starts here and it ends here. Let's change the color of the text from black to, let's say, blue. Remember, we've only changed the background color. We are here to change the color of the text. So we come here and say, put semicolon to add another one. Say color. What is the color we want to give? You can say blue. So notice that we are using something like key value pair. This is like a key and this is the value. Background color, we put column and the value is yellow. Then we want to add another one, semicolon. Semicolon means we want to add another thing. Color, blue. So the color of the text now will now be blue. It is blue. Do we notice that it has changed to blue? Let's change it to,
Yes.
okay. Alright, let's create another one again. Let's use our h tags. So let's say title. Let's say just go so title. Again, we want to change the background color to red. You can say style background color red. When we get to the page, it will be red. Then we want to change the text color from black to, let's say, white. We say color white. The color of the text will change to white. So let's now see what we can do here in our table. I will comment out these parts and say we want this TD. Remember the complaint there was that, or the first observation was that this TD, let's use our 3 by 3 spouse instead of this. Just say copy, paste, then paste. Okay, have this. So the first thing was that this space looked too small. We want it to be bigger. So come here and say style. We can now increase the width to maybe 10 pixels, or depending on how wide you want it to be, maybe 20 pixels, and also the height to, let's say, 20 pixels, so that it can be a perfect square. The width 20 pixels, the height 20 pixels. So this, just copy this in, since we want everything to be like that. Paste. Good. Now you notice that although we added it to the first row alone, it's affecting others. That's because they try to, that is the way table works. They try to use the first row to adjust themselves. But in order to be sure that it's like that, just paste it. We still have the same results. We're not going to see any visible changes on the screen. It's still the same, nothing different. Just to make each TD has its own styling. We still have the same result, nothing different. So we have this. So they are now bigger. It depends on how big we want them to be. We can also make this one to be maybe red, make this one blue, make this one yellow, make this one green, and like that. Let's do that together. So I want this one to be red. We come here and say background color. Oh, sorry. Background color red. So this is only in the first TD. So when you get to the browser, it's right. You want this one to be maybe orange, rainbow color, or big. You come here and say background color orange, and this is orange. So let's add it to the rest. Background color yellow, background color green, background color blue, background color indigo, background color violet, background color, I think we are done with the rainbow color. Maybe we can make this to be black, and lastly we can leave this as white. So we have this. Do we understand? With this now, if it's not a must for us to even have
Yes.
this content, we can remove all this one to terrain now, so that it can be empty. So we have this. Interesting. This looks like makeup kits. Now we have this, and with this I believe we should be able to do the assignments. To give me a result that looks like this. What else do I think we will need? I think we have everything we should need now. Yeah, everything is there. Any question before we call it a day? I will quickly revise HTML. Let's go over HTML again. Since we are rounding off HTML, let's go over it again. I said HTML is like the foundation of our page. It stands for hypertext markup language. And we talked about block elements and inline elements. Block elements are elements that don't share their lines. Inline elements are elements that share their lines, that is, they can share their lines with other items. Then we talked about the tags. We have a lot of tags here. When you open a tag, you have to close it, but we have some few exceptions. We call those ones the self-closing tags. So we looked at some of the tags together, the important ones. We looked at the p tag. We looked at the h tag, h1 to h6. We looked at the h tags. Then we call them the heading tags. Then we looked at the strong. We looked at the em. Then we looked at the self-closing tag. We looked at the img, which is a self-closing tag. Sorry. Then we looked at this img allows us to put image on the screen. Then we looked at the video tags, the video tag. Then we looked at the audio tag also. The video tag is used to put a video on the screen. The audio tag is used to put an audio on the page. We looked at the form. Inside our form, we said our form has action. Action is where you want the form to be submitted to. Then we looked at the method also. The method of the form, we said we'll be using two for now, the get and the post. And I said, if this form contains sensitive information, please don't use get, use post. Then we inside the form, we talked about inputs, and we added a label to our inputs. So we said the label we have a for now, and it will have an ID, and we said the ID and the for will be the same. So this allows people using screen reader to be able to use our page. Then we talked about the input type submits. So when this is going to display something that looks like a button. When it is clicked, this form will be submitted. Then we talked about the name attributes of the form. This name attribute is what the server, that is where we are submitting to, we used to know that, oh, this is the content of this particular input. The name will be the one to tell the server that part. Then we talked about the input type radio. The radio allows you to choose between one out of multiple options, while input type checkbox allows you to choose multiple options. Then we have the select tag, and in the select tag, it works like the radio button. It has options. So this allows you to pick one out of many, but if it is multiple, this allows you to pick many out of it. Then, okay, oh, thank God I'm mistaking this part. We also have something called input type file. Yes, input type file. Input type file allows you to select a file from your device. Let's look at how that looks like. I'll come here and say input type file. Input type file. It allows you to select a file. This is it.
Okay.
This input type. When I click on it, it will allow me to choose a file from my device. So that is input type file. I can select any file. So this is the file name. When we get to server side, we will see how to upload this file. Once you click on submit, it will try to upload the file, but there are a lot of things to still consider before uploading files. But that is just by the way. Input type file allows you to pick a file from your device, whether phone or laptop. Once you use input type file, it means the user should be able to select a file. Okay. So, other
Hello, sir.
yes, sir.
Please, there's no other type, input type that I want you to explain. Input type range.
Okay,
Input type
input type
reset.
range. Input type
Yeah.
range allows us to set something like a range, like a limit. Look at it. You can this you can set it. When we get to JavaScript, we'll be able to automate this. Something like 20%. When maybe if it gets to 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, you can automate this as though you are uploading something. Good. Let's say I'm uploading something, and you want to show like a progress bar, such that this thing will be increasing itself. When it gets to 10%, move forward. When it gets to 20%, move forward again till it gets to 100%. Do you understand now?
Okay.
So,
What of input type reset?
okay, input type reset will reset the whole form. Once you click on reset, it's going to reset the whole form. Okay, this, like I said, a lot of tags. In fact, we didn't even consider all the tags in HTML. And truthfully, we are not going to use all the tags.
Okay.
We only considered the most important ones, the ones that you're going to be using often. If we want to consider all the tags, then we spend too much time with it. What the
Okay.
purpose of this class is, number one, to introduce us to it. Number two, to make us spend our time to learn important things. Sometimes one might spend time learning, uh, especially you may learn
Many things.
something that you may not even need at all.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
So please, that's the essence of this class, to focus on the most important things and let us know those things very well. Then go to other things. We can't learn. Truthfully, let me tell you something. I do say something that there's nothing like self-taught developer. One, and there's no developer that is not self-taught. Now they look contradicting. That the two statements look contradicting. There's nothing like self-taught developer, and also there's no developer that is not self-taught. Let me explain it to you. When I say there's nothing like self-taught developer, or the reason I say this is because all developers are taught by someone. All developers, we are being taught by someone. Just that some people may not come to classes like this. Some people may read online documents. For instance, I wrote a book on JavaScript. I gave it out. A student read it, and now the student is able to code and now call himself self-taught developer. No, someone wrote the book you read. You aren't self-taught developer. The fact that you don't come to traditional classes like this does not mean you are a you are a self-taught developer. No. Maybe you watch online video, doesn't make you a self-taught developer. Someone invested his or her time in that video and make it possible for you. Now that's one. That's why I said there's no self-taught developer. But in another sense, all developers are self-taught. Because there's no matter how good your instructor is, the only way to still know programming is to go back to the code after the class and practice, practice, and practice. Like you need to spend a lot of time on your own after the class to do a lot of tasks, to do a lot of research, to do a lot of work. The purpose of class is to make that work easier for you. That after class work, to make it easier for you. That's the essence of the class. So that you'll be able to know where to direct your energy to and make it easy to understand now. But truthfully, if you come to class alone and you only use knowledge in class, you won't be you won't be so good a developer. I can tell us that for sure. You won't be too good a developer. You want to develop yourself more even after the class. So all developers are self-taught because for you to be a developer, no developer can survive with things learned in classroom alone. No developer. I can say this anyway, no developer. For you to be a good developer, you need to move outside those things learned in the classroom. But at the same time, someone must teach you. So whether through document, whether video, whether someone must teach you. So please, we are not going to learn everything. When we get to CSS, we won't learn everything in CSS. CSS is even wider than HTML. It's wider than HTML. You won't learn everything in CSS, I tell you that for sure. But the instructor that will teach you the major thing you need. Where's the noise coming from? So the instructor that will teach you the major things you need to be a good, should I say CSS developer now, or a good web designer? Yes, to be a good web designer. With CSS, you'll be designing websites. So the instructor that will will teach you the most important things and make you strong, so that it will be easy for you to learn more on your own. Now I don't know if you notice something, that with the little sessions we've had together, At least you'll be able to see some of those things or you'll be able to relate with a lot of things on website now. Oh, this is how they did this. Oh, this I've seen this before on a website. Oh, this is how they got it. Now you understand some of these things. You understand it. And with CSS, you'll be able to now style it and make things more beautiful. Now, all things being equal, we ought to move to CSS next, but we won't for one reason. The reason we won't move to CSS is because I want us to host our page. I want us to be able to, number one, to do two things. Number one, I want us to build our portfolio. We need to make the world know that we are now developing. What do I mean? When you want to get a job, they will ask for your portfolio. They will definitely. I can tell you that for sure. They will definitely ask for a portfolio. They want to see how far you've been in the game, something like that. So it's good for you to start uploading or updating your portfolio as early as possible. That gives an advantage. It shows that we are coding, or we started coding at a very early stage, something like that. So I don't want us to finish CSS before doing that. Number two is this. I don't want us to lose the codes we are currently writing. I want us to quickly upload them online so that even if anything happens to your system, your code is online. Then number three, I want you to also be able to send the link to your code to maybe a friend, maybe you want someone to see what you are doing. You can just send the link to your code. Oh, see my page, see what I'm currently doing. So, all this while, let me tell us a secret. All this while, we've been sending, I told you to send your projects to me. Well, those ones that contain files, I've not been able to check them. I have not successfully, except the person that zipped the folder and sent it to me. That's the only way I can see the files. Those ones that contain maybe videos or pictures, I have not been able. I can only see other codes, but not the files. That's because the files are not actually lifted from our system. The files are still on your own device there, so there is no way to link them with it. But then when I check other things and I look at it, okay, I believe probably the files are cool. But now, if you upload it on your portfolio, just send the link. With the link, I can now see everything. Anybody can check it. I can go to about, just click on a button to navigate to about, click on a button to go to home page, and all of that. It will now be possible. So that's why I want us to quickly start this. Start GitHub. We are going to Git now. I'll be the one to take us Git. Start GitHub, upload our project online, host it, send the link of your pages, and also build your portfolio. I want us to get ready for jobs too, to start building our portfolio for jobs, so that even if anything happens to your system tomorrow, your projects are safe, they are online. So do we understand what we want to do now?
Yes.
Okay. So in preparation for our next class, which we are going to start, which is Git, we'll be starting Git's next class. I want us to download something called Git on our device. So come here, Git download. Just Google Git download. This website, git-scm.com, just go to this website. Most likely it's going to be the very first URL. If you Google search Git download. So this is pick your OS. If you are using Mac, if you are using Windows, I'm using Windows, you click on Windows. If you are using Linux, you pick Linux. So if you are using Windows, just pick your own OS, then download it. After downloading it, pick your version. In my own case, I'll just click on this. It will start downloading immediately. Download and install it on your device before the next class. Download it, install it on your device before the next class. That's one. Two, register on this website, github.com. github.com. Most of the software you use, or a lot of them, are built on this page. We're going to discuss it also. github.com. So in our next class, we're going to go into Git. That installation is very, very, very important. So we're going to start with that before we come to github.com. So in our next class, we move to Git. Sign up on this page, github.com. After signing up, log into your account and just go to the page. Just see it's an interesting page. Go to the page before the next. Just go to it, but sign up, please. Sign up, and also ensure you're able to log in. Ensure you're able to log in before the next class. So I think what else do I need to update as a crowd? I think that's all for now. That's it. Any question?
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Hello,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
In respect to that our assignment, that Ludo,
Yes, sir.
it's as if we are going to have multiple columns and row because
Definitely.
uh, so how do we number it? How do we know the because I'm trying to think how we are able to know the which cells that the number of the cells that will contain that ludo.
I don't get, sir.
You know the ludo, the way I view it, all those areas you said that we should put pictures.
Yes, sir.
We are going to merge those cells as if we are going to merge those cells here
Mm-hmm.
so that they can be bigger. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Then how do as they are big they can bigger. Then how do we able to know the numbers of the cell in each the one that we merge?
That's part of
Are
the
you getting my
assignment
point?
now.
As excuse me, sir, the uploading of the picture for each for the one that we merge, so
That's
is
not a big
is
deal.
it uh, okay,
Just put your IMG tag.
okay,
Put your IMG tag and
okay,
it will display.
okay.
You
Thank
can do
you.
all of that. I think the biggest task will be merging these things. That will be that's the
Ye-
truth. The
Yes.
biggest task will be merging these parts together, these parts, and this middle. Those will be the biggest challenges we have. But aside those parts, every other thing should be simple and straightforward. But I want us to actually
Okay.
think it through.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Alright, we
So
call it.
I have a question.
I have a question
Yes,
too.
sir.
Okay, maybe I should wait for Mr. Person to ask his question.
Okay, thank you. For the CSS, is there any software to download? Just like what we just did for Git.
No,
In case of Git, we downloaded something, but for CSS, nothing to be downloaded, right?
no, we are not going to download anything. And although if we now need to, which I doubt, the instructor that will take a CSS will tell you, but I don't think you need to. But if I thought you thinks you need to download any software, he will tell us. But we are going to go straight to Git. When I'm done with Git, the instructor will come in and take us CSS and Bootstrap.
Okay. And my second question is, when I was working on this HTML, ML, and I need to view my job in the browser. So the way it's showing me is it will say show in browser. I won't see open in browser just like yours. So I don't know why. Is mine different from yours?
Okay. Uh, Maybe version. But are you able to view it?
Sometimes I'm able to view, but most of the time I'm not able to view them.
Which editor are you using?
I think the one you asked us to download, is the action one or something, the last one. You have to download 3, but the third one I
Okay,
downloaded.
Atom.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm not used to Atom. I'm not used to Atom.
maybe that's why I'm having a
I
problem.
I mainly use this and Visual Studio Code. I'm not used to Atom.
Oh, okay. Maybe I have to download the visual one then.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Yes, sir. Pastor, sir.
Yes, sir. The first question I have is this: is concerning the assignment. Now, based on my understanding, we have 4 pictures and then 1 at the middle. So are we saying that those are the one we have the green part, the red part, the blue part, the yellow part, then there is 1 at the middle. So that means we are working with 5 pictures, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I understand now. Then the second question is this. I discovered that as regards this, one needs constant practice. If we really want to master this, that personally, that's what I've discovered, that one needs constant practice. So please, where do you think we can be getting something that will help us to maybe a kind of job that will help us to be at least that will keep us on our feet, on our on our toes. Maybe from time to time we just go there, we see like assignment now, not assignment per se, but something that will help us to keep ourselves busy so that these things we will not forget. Then we get better as we keep practicing and practicing.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Now, the first is this. For task on HTML, you can just Google HTML task. Just Google HTML task. You see a lot of tasks there.
Okay, HTML task.
Yes.
Okay.
Then another thing is this.
HTML task.
Yes, HTML tasks task. Then
Okay. Okay.
another thing is the good news is that when we get to CSS, it's not like we are dumping
Yes.
HTML. No, we'll be using the
Okay.
CSS with HTML. Look at the way we added styling here. We added styling
Yeah.
there. So you still be writing HTML even though you are writing CSS. In fact, the purpose of the
Okay.
CSS is to style the HTML. So CSS cannot stand on
Okay.
its own. So when we get to CSS, we
On
still
his
be
own.
writing.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, we still be writing.
That means we still be, yeah. Okay. 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 Okay.
So with that,
Okay.
we won't forget.
Okay.
At
Okay.
first,
Okay.
truthfully, at first you need to cram this thing, this table TR TD.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, as you style, since you still have to write these things over and over again, then you see yourself writing it naturally. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
you will no longer cram it since you are writing it every day. When you get to JavaScript,
Okay.
we will still be writing HTML because the purpose of the JavaScript is to add functionality to our HTML.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so
Okay.
as a web developer, you always write HTML, or as a front-end developer,
Okay.
except if you don't want to focus on front-end. As a front-end developer, you will always write HTML every day. So
ML.
you will keep
Okay.
improving in HTML.
Okay.
That's it. So you will keep getting better in HTML, provided one is progressing
Okay.
in the field. Like say, once you get to CSS, you will still be writing HTML. Once you get to JavaScript, you will still be writing HTML. Once you move to the next stage, React, you will still be writing. You always write HTML. You keep getting better.
HTML.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So,
Thank you very much, sir.
you're welcome, sir. You can also go to this website. Maybe just Google HTML task, and we can just see some tasks. Okay. One thing I can say is most of these tasks might require some bit of CSS. It might require some CSS that maybe you style it a bit. So since we are going into CSS soon also, you'll be able to do almost everything. But those ones that don't require styling, you just blaze through them. Like it's not going to give you any issue at all. At all. If it doesn't require any styling. And you find CSS interesting, like beautification to make things, you're going to beautify things lovely, cool, nice, make everything so nice and beautiful. Thank you very much. Do you have any other question before we go?
What I would suggest is that I will be very happy if we can get the recording version very fast.
Okay, we'll get it today.
Yes,
We'll get it today.
so
Thank you
that
very
we
much.
won't stay too long. Yeah, thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir. I'm enjoying myself taking us. That's it. So if I don't enjoy, if I'm not enjoying it, I will let us know. I'm actually enjoying myself taking the class. So you are not the only
Okay.
one enjoying the class. As an instructor, I need to enjoy myself. If I don't enjoy, I would have maybe. I won't spend this time there. Like I won't be here this long. I'm actually enjoying myself, and I appreciate us for making it interesting to me too as an instructor. That's the beauty of teaching. You have to enjoy yourself while the students also enjoy themselves. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Yes, have a lovely night rest. Good night. I will send the recordings to us now.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
you're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir.